Hi everybody, welcome to another edition of The Watch Collector. My name's Ollie. Today we're going to look at a watch by Garrick, and specifically the S4 and a special limited edition colorway of that particular model. But before we get to it, the obligatory wristwatch check, and wearing the Chapek Antarctique Passage de Drake in salmon. So, as mentioned, what we've got is the Garrick S4, but this in ice blue dial with 904L stainless steel, not 316, 904L, far harder, toughened, less, more corrosive resistant, should we say, version of 316. It's the stainless steel that Rolex use, so you can be assured that this is the toughest stainless steel in watchmaking that you can get. The finishing is as you have come to expect from Garrick. Those of you who don't know, they were formed in 2014. They are a British fine watchmaking company. They're based in Norfolk. They deliberately limit production to just 50 watches a year. Not 50 of a model, 50 watches in total of a year. And so you really are getting something when you decide to dive into Garrick, you're getting something that it really is handmade and hand finished. So this is 42 millimeters in diameter, 10 millimeters in height, and 100 meters water resistant. Forgive me. The dial is rhodium plated. And as you can see, it's got this really rather striking, what they refer to as icy blue guilloche center part of the dial and sub-dial where you have the seconds. You've got the signature anchors on the hour and minute hands, which is something that feature in all Garrick watches, and I really like the way that they screw the Garrick nameplate just below the 12 o'clock. This watch is full of all sorts of features, which particularly at this price point, and we'll get to how they do that, is pretty special. So not only do you get, as I mentioned, the 904L steel, you get hand finishing, you get in particular Roman numeral dials, but not just any Roman numeral dials. They are hand-filled ink Roman numeral dials. The attention to detail, again, at this price point is outstanding. I love the onion knurling on the bezel, on the crown. It's oversized, or what seems to be oversized initially, but actually with the way that the rest of the watch is and the size of it, personally, I think it's perfectly in proportion. It has stepped lugs, but they're very gently done in that regard. And so what I like about the way that the onion knurling plays with light compared to the somewhat sort of flatness of the case itself, I think it really adds that extra level of intrigue. This is a very flat watch. Perfect as a dress watch, you'd suggest. It's only 10 millimeters in height, but look, even the sapphire crystal is hardly domed. There is a small raise in the center, but it's very, very slight. There are, of course, some watches that deliberately step the sapphire crystal. This is not one of them. But I do love the interplay of the stainless steel with the track around the outside and the ice blue dial. The strap, whenever I've seen Garrick watches previously, I've always been a fan of the straps, and this is no different. I not only love the feel of the leather, but also the contrast, particularly between the dark blue and the orange. It's very nicely done. Now, it has a pin buckle, but again, at this price point, with the kind of watch that you're getting, it's one of those things that we'd have to forgive, I suggest. If we flip it over, you've got a BF03 movement, which is brought in by Garrick and then heavily modified. It beats away at 18,000 vibrations per hour, and it's got a 42-hour power reserve, I believe. What's nice about Garrick is a lot of their watches are customizable because it's a small company with very high attention to detail. If you would like things done differently, then the chances are you can do it. So, for example, the 3/4 plate here is handmade, hand finished, and you can have it in rhodium plated, gold plated. I'm sure they plate it in whatever you wanted, if that would be your wish. But that's what they pride themselves on, making sure that these pieces are customizable. What's also really nice is you have the super fast adjustable straps, so you can chop and change if you want to do so. Let's throw it on the wrist and see how it wears. I mean, the guilloche with the ice blue, I think, is just spectacular. It has less of a weight than I thought it would on the wrist, actually, even though of course it's on a strap, and so you're minimizing it. I thought it would be more top heavy than it is. It's not, and definitely one of those that, even though it's a 42mm, it is extremely comfortable, wearable all day. In this colorway, let's face it, probably more of a sports watch than a dress watch. But if you were to tone it down, for example, I mean, they do various colorways. If they were to tone it down, then I'm sure you would be able to wear it as a dress watch. But in this, as I said, in this specification, then certainly a bit more sporty. I should say that given the way that Garrick work, and they only make 50 watches a year, this is strictly limited to just 10. There will only ever be 10 of these in this colorway. I should also say that this is shall we say, the more affordable version of Garrick's watches, and the reason why they're able to do it with this model is because they brought in the movement. The rest of their models are made with in-house calibers, so the price does increase incrementally, obviously depending on complication, but irrespective, this is still, regardless of whether it has an in-house movement or not, this still has all the touches that you would expect of a small, bespoke, highly detailed manufacturer. And it's great the fact that they're based in the UK, in Norfolk, just absorbing and utilising all those old school English watch manufacturing traditions. And for that, I think they should be highly, highly commended. So that's the Garrick S4 Ice Blue limited edition. Would love to know what you think about it. That's enough for now. We'll see you next time.